welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. Let's take a look at some of the RSC, Rolex Service Center Japan service pouches from the past and present, and specifically let's review the new one. So the first pouch is this vinyl pouch for vinyl customers who don't spend a lot of money, small jobs as they call it. So if you get a bezel insert changed, you're going to walk out, at least last year, I'm not sure if they've done away with these, with one of these. And it's got a little sleeve for documents here, which I never use and they never use that either, but it's there. And it's got sort of a Ziploc closure here. And to keep the bracelet from hitting the back of the watch, they have this, a piece of styrofoam. So really cheap, really not worthy of Rolex. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory how it works, but they put the styrofoam sheet between the back of the watch and the bracelet and fold it over. And then you put it on. And look, if they had something green and not so disposable, it would be a lot better. This sheet rips and it's a throwaway item. And it's a little hard to get in there. Now, I haven't had the RSC training, so you'll have to excuse me, but there you go. It goes in like that. And it is waterproof. So it's a good travel pouch if you're going someplace. Fits in the suitcase nicely. If water, happens, then it's going to keep the water out. Not like it's a big deal. It's an oyster, right? But you could use this on your Cellini as well. And it's plastic, and it's not one of those things that if you lose, it's going to be a big deal. So if you leave it in your hotel room and the maid steals it, as long as the watch isn't in it, not that big of a deal. Not that really any of them are. These go for about 1,000 yen, which is $10 on the gray market. And, they're probably worth about 20 cents. And that's probably what it costs to produce them. And most likely they're made in some place like China. All right, so a small job service pouch. Now this was the higher end service pouch. It's made out of a faux suede, and this is what you would get for a more expensive job, something like an overhaul. And these go for about 4,000 yen on the gray market. That's about $40. And I had a bezel changed out, got the plastic one, asked about this one and was denied. All right, the woman at RSC denied me this. I've got a few of them, but now it doesn't have any sort of way to close it, okay? And inside you have this sort of suede covered piece of cardboard. And there's a couple ways to do it, and I've had people from RSC do it both ways. And this is the way I prefer it, okay? I put it on here. Obviously, you guys know why, to keep the back of the watch from getting knocked around by the bracelet, and then put it in like this. Okay, that's the way I like it. All right, I've seen them hand it to me like that, but I've also seen them hand it to me like this, and they bend this like so. Let's see if I can do it. And that keeps it a little bit more secure. Hold on, I think we can get it more centered. Okay. And, let's see, how would you put it in? I guess you could put it in sideways. And, it makes it stand up a little bit. And, look, I wouldn't store my watch like this. I don't know much about physics. Maybe you guys can weigh in, but I feel like it's pulling on the bracelet. The oyster, not such a big deal. The Jubilee, with this small amount of pull over months and months, have any effect on the bracelet? I'm not sure. I don't know. Let me know if it would. It's a small amount of pull, but it's there. And so, if I were packing this in a suitcase and it was just going to be like this for 24 hours, fine. But if this was going into the bank safe for months on end, then I probably would opt to do it the way I do it, which is like this. And then I put it in like that. And You can see when you do it like that, it's a little bit flatter. Now, obviously, the disadvantages of this, there's no sort of closure. So if you hold it like this, or you hold it by the edge, which you'd never do, the watch could fall right out, and there's no sort of pocket for a document. It's not like you really need it, but I like this one. Okay, and again, this is gone. Okay, so they don't use this anymore, and there's a new one. But this is, if you want to know how my watches sit at the bank, well, they sit like this, kind of laying on each other. All right, and this is the new one, and as you can see, it's quite a bit different. It looks almost like a box versus an envelope. It's got a button. If you want to see the story of me getting this, then link in the description. I went with Jason to RSC, and that was fun. That's a great video. I really like that. So check that out. Link in the description. Now, this is the new high-end one, and again, it's got a button there. What does the button say? Let's see if we can kind of zoom in on it. It's got stars. Okay, so 6 5-pointed stars, and then it's got this. Okay, and this, I'll just tell you, would be a great travel pouch, okay, because you're able to close it with a button. And here's how you do this little sleeve. It's probably some cardboard in there. Again, my lack of training by Rolex is going to come into play here, so do forgive me. There you go. All right, and very secure, nice shape. I mean, it's not pulling just two ends, two points on the bracelet like this does. This distributes the weight evenly, but still, it's pulling on the bracelet. And again, month after month, year after year, would it affect the bracelet? I mean, would you get any bracelet stretch? I don't know. You physics guys who know about metal, and if you put a small amount of pressure on metal for just ages and ages, does it change it? That would make me not want to use this to store the watches. And I thought about actually using this to store a watch, but again, it's pulling in, and after months, probably this is going to sort of stop, wanting to expand, but still, I just like the way you can sort of place it on here, and there's absolutely no pull on the bracelet. But again, if you're traveling, then it's great, very secure, and it does evenly distribute the the tension. And you have a place, I don't know if you could put documents in there, or you're really supposed to, but I guess you could put something in there. And obviously the watch goes like this. Then we got to put it in properly. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. And I like this. I think it's an improvement. It's really not as usable, again, in the bank safe as these. And so I kind of prefer these. I'm glad I have some. But if you're looking to travel, this is a great travel case. Now, one complaint. You've got some, space right there, as you can see. And so if you just were to put your watch in this and put it on the shelf, dust is going to get in there. And something like this, a little bit better. I mean, you just obviously put it in, and it's gonna keep the dust out more, but you're gonna get this airflow. And so really the watch, after months on months sitting on a shelf, very well may be kind of dusty in there. So that's not a great thing. Now, what's the best pouch out there? Well, I think it's this one. And you're not gonna have dust getting in it, and it's a nice shape. It's got the button, but again, it's going to have one of those boards that sort of does this. And I have one just like this, but with Tudor, right? A Tudor one. Okay, here's the Tudor one. by the way, just so you can see it. So now they make a Rolex version of this. I think that's the best, right? You've got good closure there. You're not going to get dust. It can sit on a shelf for a year, and it's going to keep the dust out more than this one. But there's still some space in there. But it's got the button, nice shape, small, and again, if you're storing the watch for long periods of time, you know, I'm not going to be crazy about having the tension of this on the watch, but if you're just using it in a suitcase for a day or two just to travel, not a big deal. So let's try this. There you go. All right. So again, it's placing tension on these just two parts. It's not evenly distributed. So yeah, let me know what you think about this. Am I being too OCD about things? Probably, but probably not. I mean, you know, I think distributing the tension more evenly is a better thing. But of course, this goes in like this. Here, let's see how it works. Well, okay, so the Rolex version I think is probably the best, but here's the rub. I'll tell you the rub. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a button. Okay, well, there's no way for me to show you. I need a flashlight. Hold on. The button, okay? Obviously, there's the button there. And the metal part, let me just try to get it. Okay, there it is. The metal part's in there, and then they've got a little piece of suede covering it. But look what happens. It comes up, right? And if that piece of suede falls off completely, then you've got metal on your crystal. And so right here, this is why I don't use this Tudor thing. I've got to get some, you know, like cloth glue and glue that back down, because this is coming up. And yeah, that's why I was kind of uncomfortable about like putting my sub in there, because that can scratch the crystal or the bezel. So yeah, that's the problem. All right, this is the brand new Rolex service pouch, and you can see where the button is. That metal part is covered up. And, you know, if it ever comes off on this one, it's not such a big deal because the watch isn't right up on that button. So this is a lot safer, but strangely enough, the safest of the bunch are the first two, the vinyl one and the one without any metal at all. There you go, the many faces of the Rolex Service Center service pouch. Final verdict, which is my favorite? Well, for my purposes, the older one that they don't use anymore, the overhaul service pouch, because I think it keeps dust out better. There are no metal parts you have to worry about scratching the watch, and less pressure on the bracelet. But for traveling purposes, I think I like this, but again, the little piece of material, it's all contingent on that, you know, staying intact, and it's not intact on this one anymore, which renders it pretty useless. So for travel purposes, I think this. I actually like this a lot. And there you go. And for this, well, you know, it's not bad at all. It's just material-wise, it's kind of cheap. So number one for storage, and I would say number one for travel. Let me know what you think. Take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.